Good morning, everyone. I hope you all are having a great end of the semester as we kind of wind down for things. I hope things are going really good, that you guys are getting excited for summer and all of those things. And if you're graduating, I hope all of that is going well for you as well. With this last session, I just wanted to record a quick video and just retouch on kind of some of the information we spoke about and some of the resources that we have. I know that this year with CDL training, it's kind of been a little different because of the snow and having to adjust for all that. And so I totally understand that we weren't able to do some of the things that we were hopeful to do, but I'm hopeful this kind of just serves as sort of a good quick wrap up and I can pass it on for you all to do what you need to do in order to be successful with your CDLs. So for the session today that we would have had, we would have completed a survey. I'm not really too worried about completing that, but we would have completed a survey. We would have looked over some quizzes and some of the information that you need to know, and then we would have done a Jeopardy game, and looked over some of the test prep material that you really need to know to take your actual written test. So you need to know general knowledge, air brakes, and combination vehicles. Those are the three sections that you have to have down in order to pass the written test to get your permit to have your CDL. But I just want to show you these real quick. So let's look at this quiz. This is again our tried and true trucking truth. Um, you can see they've got the practice section. So if we want to do the introduction, we could click go. It's going to take us to the introduction. And here are 10 questions. Same for the rest of these sections. So I would highly recommend, again, just going to the trucking truth. I'll show you all trucking truth and you can click right there, but we'll click here, and then we can go down to this section where it's the high road training. That's what we want to look at. But here are the practice tests that you can actually take. Now, we would have gone over this, and I would highly recommend going over combination vehicles because, again, that is such a big component. If I haven't said it before, you didn't hear me before, you have to pass the general knowledge test. If you don't pass the combination and air brakes, you can retest on those sections only. But if you don't pass the general knowledge test, you have to pass it before you can get anywhere. So let's say you pass air brakes, but you fail general knowledge and combination vehicles, you still have to take all three again. But if you pass general knowledge, pass air brakes, but don't pass combination vehicles, most places, I'll say, maybe it might be different now, but most places, most testers will let you just retake that one section. For the Jeopardy game, this would be another good study tool that you all could have. So, we could put one team and just keep track of it, but you can go through and, hazard awareness for 400. What does a high center of gravity mean? You think through it, and then vehicle is more likely to tip over from fast turns because it is higher from the ground. So that's pretty much how that is. It's going to ask you a question that you might see on the test, give you the answer. I would say it's pretty good test for your knowledge. And there are two of those games and the questions are different. So I would definitely look over those. And then these are just links to the to practice tests that you can take with the Arkansas CDL information kind of embedded into it. And so you could go through this. There are 50 questions for the general knowledge, and then 25 for air brakes, and we'll look at combination, 20 for combination vehicles. So you can see kind of the true length of the test, how many you need to pass, and kind of where you're at. So that's kind of what we would have done on the last session if we would have been able to meet in person. Now, looking at the timeline, I just want to make you all aware, and this is on the NWTI website, but these are the start dates for this year, 2025. So obviously, we're past March, and you all really won't be able to do April and May. It's also probably going to be tricky for several of us unless you're graduating and you want to just do Class B. Again, it's only 2 extra weeks to get a Class A, and it opens your field up to so many more things. I would highly, highly recommend doing a Class A instead of just a Class B, but you can do what you need to do on that end. But they have starting dates in June and August or September. And so, if this summer this is something you want to knock out, I would highly recommend it. Looking at NWTI's, and NWAC also has a program, but they don't have the information listed that I was able to see kind of like this. But looking at NWTI's website, this is what you have to do before you get started, but let's see how we get there. So I'm just going to type in NWTI CDL. NWTI CDL program, that's what we click. It's going to have all the information that you need to know, and then you can see for the full 4 week class class A CDL, it's $3,500 and that encompasses everything that you need to have. And so you would totally be good on that end. Here's contact information. There's the curriculum. You can do student loans. You don't have to apply for FAFSA for this program, like specifically, but you can get a loan if you need it. $3,500 for a program in which you could work at a job making hundreds of thousands of dollars over the course of your lifetime. That's pretty inexpensive. I know it's a lot of money up front, but that's really not a bad price. And they may have from time to time they tend to have special programs or grants, and so that may be something you ask about whenever you go and register for classes. So what do we need when we go to NWTI if that's where we're going to go? And it's going to be pretty similar for any other program that you may go to. And if you go to work somewhere and they send you to NWTI, it's going to look exactly like this. So you need a permit. So that's, remember, us buying the $50 packet, getting the exam, passing it, and having that physical copy that you can take to of your permit to take to NWTI. You also need a physical. So remember, there are a couple places. There's one in Fayetteville and in Gentry that we've talked about that do it. Several places can do it, but those two are for sure going to be able to do it for you. But you need that physical done before you go to register. And then you have to go and register for the program. So, how does this work? Typically, you just need to go to NWTI's campus in Springdale, walk in, and just tell them that you're there to register for CDL training. As you know, it has to be at least 5 days prior to the start of class. And whenever you get enrolled, you'll be in a 15-hour online theory training class that you need to complete prior to the start of the program. So, yes, you really should try and get that program done, like get in and get enrolled as soon as you can, as soon as you know this is what you want to do, so you can start that classwork. I do believe they give you maybe a day or two to get things done, but it's going to be beneficial if you get all that online training done before you actually go into the class. And you do have to pay upfront as soon as you register for classes, and you're not going to be able to go to the classes unless they're completely paid for. Whenever you go to these classes, remember this looks like a roughly 8 to 4 p.m., 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., Monday through Friday for 4 weeks straight. So if you have a job and you're able to work in the evenings, that might be something that you need to think about. But if you can take off or if you are going to quit your job to do this and then find another job, that's something you need to think about as well. Additionally, whenever you are in the program, at least at NWTI, they actually bring in recruiters and talk to you about certain things. And so, you may end up going to work for companies you never even knew existed because they're going to bring those companies in and talk to you about those things. And they are actively recruiting. But remember, if we're 18, we can drive only in Arkansas until we're 21, then we can go across state lines. So that does limit you for 3 years, but that's a good chance to get some experience. Now, I would highly recommend that you also keep in mind the things that we talked about for disqualifications. I don't want anyone to get messed up on that end. So, things like your blood alcohol content is half of what it could be. So traditionally it's 0.08. For you all, it's 0.04, even if you're not behind the wheel of a commercial vehicle. And so just remember those things on top of speeding and reckless driving and all that. My cautionary tale, I'll tell it again. There are people that I know have gone through the CDL program or that I've helped just outside of all this that we do with students. And those people have had a hard time sometimes finding jobs because they've had excessive speeding tickets. They've had, certain things come up in a background check, whatever that may be. And by background check, I mean, checking a driving record or something like that, that has limited them from the jobs that they're able to have. So just if you hear nothing else, make sure that you're being cautious and careful. I know it's sometimes hard to do as a teenager, but um, just make sure you're being cautious and careful about what it is that you need to do. Looking at all this information again, feel free. Your career coaches or counselors should be able to have this link, and you are more than welcome to take this, make a copy, access the links, whatever you need to do. But you can go over everything that we need, and we have embedded some of the videos. Some of these recordings are from me, some of these are from the individual who held this job before me. And so all the information is the same, but they might be different. But those are the correct videos that you need to get to. Here's the information on the physicals, just as an FYI. Again, it's in Fayetteville and Gentry. It's post physicals or Tucker Chiropractic. Those are the most up-to-date recent ones that we've got. And then all these YouTube resources. So really, hopefully there's a resource on here, whether you're a visual person, you have to read, whatever it is, you should be able to find something that you need. My last little tidbit is to just encourage you all to take full advantage of these opportunities you have with getting your CDL. You have the potential to make so much money, so much more than so many people are able to because of this skill. And we're always going to need people to transport things for us. We always need truckers. And so that's something that's never, at least not for a very long time, will probably never go away. And so this video is actually of a young man that started a company and whenever he was 17 and started all that process of doing whatever he needed to do to start his own trucking company. And now he makes $1.9 million a year. There's some highlights from that video, but definitely check that out if that sounds like something you'd be interested in. If you just want to drive for someone else, there are a lot of benefits to that. But if you're kind of entrepreneur mindseted and you think you want to start your own company, that would be something else to look into. All that being said, at this point, it's time for us to be adults and do the adult thing. If you do have any questions, I know your career coach or counselor would be happy to help you through things. But at this point, it's about you taking the test, getting the physical, going to NWTI or wherever, contacting them and signing up for whatever it is that you are going to do. And remember, they do the CDL training at the NWTI Springdale campus, and I believe they do it at the NWAC Bentonville campus. There are other programs out there as well, but those are the ones local that you can pay for. Speaking of you paying for it, let's kind of talk about that. If a company sends you somewhere, that's fine, but you probably are going to have to be in a contract with them for a year or two until you can leave. So you really need to think through, do I just want to have this and I can have the flexibility to do whatever I want, even if it's going to cost me $3,500 or whatever it may be upfront? Or do I just want to get this paid for? If you want to get this paid for, that's going to look a little different. You may want to reach out to some companies and just see what they have to offer. But there are a lot of companies in Northwest Arkansas that offer that opportunity for students to just get their CDL paid for. But the trade-off is you do have to work for a couple of years. Now, after that couple of years, you could go somewhere else. So if you start when you're 18 and you're just going to have only be able to drive a dump truck, maybe you do an opportunity where they pay for it for you. You stay there for 3 years and then you go somewhere else whenever you're 21. But just know that there are some trade-offs on both of those models that you may have. And it's not easy work, it's hard work, but if you're willing to put in the work, then I really think that everyone that goes through this program, they want you to be successful. They're going to do whatever they can to make sure that you are successful as long as you're cut out for this work. All that being said, I really appreciate everyone's attention and engagement with this process, and I hope that you all are super successful in whatever the future brings you. Thank you.